March 2006, Duke University, one of the most prestigious academic institutions in the world, sorry for that, was about to become the epicenter of a national firestorm. Three names, David Evans, Collin Finnerty, and Reade Seligmann, I'm hoping I have those right, will soon be synonymous with one of the most significant miscarriages of justice in modern American history. This is the story of the Duke Lacrosse Case, a tragic rush to accuse, a rogue prosecutor, and a media frenzy that nearly destroyed 3 lives before the truth could catch up. The night of the party began on March 13th, 2006. The Duke men's lacrosse team was on campus during spring break. They held a party at a house on North Buchanan Boulevard. Alcohol was involved, of course. It's a college party, so alcohol is going to be there. And 2 strippers were hired, Crystal Mangum and a student at North Carolina Central University, and Mera Roberts. So Crystal Mangum was a student at North Carolina Central University, and Mera Roberts. Tension rose early. The strippers were black and biracial, respectively. The team was predominantly white. After a short contentious performance involving a broomstick and racial slurs exchanged between players and the women, Mangum and Roberts left the house. Shortly after, Mangum was found by police in a nearby Kroger parking lot. She was impaired, incoherent, and mentally unstable. They took her to a mental facility where she made a bombshell claim. She had been dragged into a bathroom at the party and R-worded, beaten, and choked by 3 white men for 30 minutes. Now here enters Mike Nifong, the Durham County District Attorney. Facing a tough re-election campaign, Nifong seized the case. Within days, he was giving dozens of interviews declaring that the racially motivated crime had occurred and suggesting the players were guilty before a single indictment was handed down. But the investigation was flawed from the start. The Durham police was a suspect only photo array, meaning Crystal Mangum was only shown photos of the lacrosse players. There were no fillers, so it's like they approached the case with suspects in mind and not having a wide pool, like not giving it a wide pool. They just had suspects in mind to test her accuracy. Despite this, she failed to identify David Evans at all, and her story shifted constantly. Then there was the McFadden email. A player, Ryan McFadden, sent a graphic email about killing strippers shortly after the party. The media portrayed it as a literal threat, but in reality it was a dark, twisted reference to the novel American Psycho, a book being taught in Duke classes at the time. Now comes the DNA cover-up. The turning point of the case wasn't the testimony, it was the science. Nifong had ordered DNA testing on 46 members of the team. The results from the state lab was clear. No DNA from the player matched the evidence taken from Mangum. Undeterred, Nifong hired a private lab, DNA Security Inc. The director, Brian Meehan, found DNA from several unidentified men on Mangum, none of whom were the lacrosse players. Nifong and Meehan conspired to withhold these results from the defense. They only reported that David Evans couldn't be excluded from a DNA sample found on a discarded false fingernail, a sample that actually matched 2% of the entire male population. Interesting, because Evans lived in the house. His DNA being present was expected, but Nifong used his statistic to bolster a failing case. Now comes the collapse. By late 2006, remember this started in March 2006, the case began to crumble. Kim Roberts, the second stripper, called Mangum claims a crook. The R charges were eventually dropped in December, but Nifong kept pushing. The kidnapping and S offenses charges. In early 2007, North California Attorney General Roy Cooper took the unprecedented step of taking the case away from Nifong. On April 11, 2007, we are now a year later, 1 year, 1 month later, Cooper didn't just drop the charges, he declared the 3 men innocent. He described the situation as a tragic rush to accuse and label Nifong a rogue prosecutor, because you remember he was trying to get re-elected. So I think he was looking for that good PR case for himself. The fallout was swift. Mike Nifong became the first prosecutor in North Carolina history to be disbarred for his conduct during a trial. He was found guilty of dishonest fraud, deceit, and misinterpretation, and served 1 day in jail for criminal contempt. Duke University, criticized for failing to support its students, settled with Evans, Finnerty, and Seligmann for an estimated $20 million. I hope they can use that money to set themselves for life. The house where the party occurred was demolished in 2010. Crystal Mangum was never charged for her false allegations. She continued to insist she was assaulted through her life. Though her life was later marked by further legal troubles, including a 2013 conviction for the second-degree murder of her boyfriend, of which here is where I usually feel that the legal system usually fails. When it's a lady reporting a crime, it's so immediate to convict the one who's committed the crime, and I think that we need to start deterring ladies from falsely accusing people by giving them punishment, because now currently we are very skeptical about ladies. It will make us not believe ladies who are genuine. It will make us approach cases with so much scrutiny instead of open-mindedness. That is where I feel the legal system is failing. But do let me know what you think. The Duke Lacrosse case remains a haunting reminder of the dangers to a rush of judgment. It exposed the intersection of race, class, and the power of a prosecutor to weaponize the legal system for political gain. It serves as a permanent testament to the importance of due process, the necessity of forensic transparency, and the reality in the court of public opinion. The truth is often the last thing to arrive true. If the system can fail 3 students at an elite university with every resource at their disposal, what does it mean for people like us, by the way? Thank you so much for tuning in. If you do like these kinds of videos, the only way to let me know is if you like, share, and subscribe. See you again in the next video. Goodbye.